time for another episode of Markoutonline. We're here with Demond Thompson. He is a former OVW and World Wrestling Entertainment wrestler and manager. Demond has had a lot of different roles and gimmicks over the years, starting out at OVW with Static D and Morris, with Renee Dupree and Maurice, working with Bowling Services, and moving on to working with the APA as Bruce, later with Ernest the Cat Miller as Lamont, and finally working with the Heartbreakers slash the Heartthrobs at OVW as Mo Green. So we'd like to welcome you to the show today.
Thank you, Larry.
Now that we've run down his plethora of skills and roles, I guess just kind of start out, maybe talk a little bit about what brought you to OVW to begin with.
Well, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler as a kid, and needless to say, I was not very big. And I told my dad one time. I remember telling my dad, I don't think I've ever told him about this story. I was talking to him about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not very big. I may not be a wrestler, but maybe I'll end up being a manager. I guess I was right. But how I wound up at OVW was very interesting. Danny Davis's old partner, Ken Lane, when they were with the Nightmares, I ran into him. He's a friend of my dad's, and they live in Memphis. He was coaching football with my dad, and come to find out, Kenny is not much bigger than me.
Right.
He looks so much bigger on television. And we got to talking, of course, you know, my love for wrestling and everything, and we just developed a friendship. Then I moved back to Lowell. And actually, I moved back to Jeffersonville, and I was, you know, just getting my bearings and just adjusting back to life, to being back home. And I called Kenny. I was like, you know what? I want to wrestle. I want to wrestle. You know, will you train me? He's like, fool, you don't live that far from the OVW. You don't live that far from Danny's school. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I looked it up online. I was literally a mile from OVW, so I could walk to the school. So I started out in the old arena that was on, I want to say, Mechanic Street.
Yes, it was Mechanic Street.
It was on Mechanic Street, and it was, I remember my first day vividly, because I walk in there, anybody who remembers or seen old tapes, it's a warehouse. Yeah. It's a very small warehouse, very cramped. It was hot in the summer and cold in the winter, but it was home. It was first. My earliest wrestling memory, other than actually signing up and all that, was it was the night of my very first match. I was in the locker room. You know, we'd already wrestled, and a gentleman by the name of Vivacious Charles. You know?
I know Vivacious.
You may have heard this. We were sitting across from each other. We were talking a little bit, and I had been smartened up by Kenny on locker room etiquette, shaking hands, keeping quiet, and stuff like that. So I was trying to keep my answers really short and not bother anybody while they're watching the match, because I was watching it as well. And Brock Lesnar asked in no certain terms, I'm editing this for television, to be quiet. And Charles's answer, although in his defense he was kidding, but there's just some things you don't tempt fate. And he told him basically to kiss his butt. And Brock stands up, walks over in front of Charles, and you gotta see this from my perspective. This is before he had his back piece. All I saw was shoulders and back. And the hand came back, and wow! And he just slaps the crap out of Charles, man. And all I could think was, oh my God, what have I got myself into? And you know, I was just, whoa, like that, and that still ranks as like one of my like holy cow memories. It was that was my welcome to the wrestling business memory. I'm like, oh my God, I was a nervous wreck being in that locker room for a long time after that, because I didn't want. Like, I'm too little. He broke my jaw. He hit me like that. So that's probably my first memory. That's probably my first memory. But back back to the arena. the new arena has a has more of a big game atmosphere than the old arena did. The old arena was more homey, more pre-WWE, ECW, that kind of feel. It was a family atmosphere. You still get that atmosphere at the new arena, or at the current arena. It's not new anymore, but at the current arena, just because a lot of those people have been there since OVW opened, what, 92, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And so you still get that home feel, but you get a taste of what the energy is really like at a big venue. It seats, I want to say 400 to 500 people.
Yeah.
And when that place is full to the rafters and people are, ready to see some action, there's nothing like it. There really isn't. It's really cool. So I wouldn't trade one for the other really. So I like the both.
Yeah. Now your first gimmick was with Renee Dupree
Right.
as his manager. Did that start off at the old arena, or was that something that you didn't start off until we moved over here to Louisville?
That was actually into the new arena. I had just done some dark matches. I had done matches that are on TV for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. I had done some matches not on television. I'd done some house shows and stuff like that.
Right.
But I hadn't done anything on television. And it was actually the second or third week. No, it was the second or third month that we were there, that we were in Louisville, that premiered. After the first show, we were there. I came in that next week, and Jimmy Cornette just walks up to me and says, "Go get you a tuxedo." I'm like, okay. So I went and got me a tuxedo. I think it debuted December of that year.
Okay. And how was, you trained to be a wrestler up until this point,
Yeah.
and how was the transition? Was there much of a transition for you from wrestling training to now I'm a manager on TV?
Not really, because I was overprepared.
Okay.
I really didn't do a whole lot of interaction. I mean, I didn't do a lot of like speaking or anything like that. At that point, I had never talked really. Worked, with the previous gimmick that I was doing while I was wrestling. I had already had that experience of being in front of people and just doing what I do. And so all it was an adjustment to, okay, what Jimmy wanted from me, and just run with it and have fun with it. That's all I really did. And every gimmick I did, they told me what to do, and I did what they told me, and then really just ran with it and had fun, and it just seemed to click. It just seemed to click. Renee and I really clicked. I thought it was a good gimmick. I thought it worked pretty well.
Good.
Rip Rogers is absolutely amazing. He is absolutely amazing. He is, let's just say, rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Not very, he's not politically correct, but there are really at OVW at that time with Danny Davis, Jimmy Cornette, and Rip Rogers, there was not a better place to learn. I consider myself so blessed because when I did do some indies, and you would see what I was given, and we were really spoiled. Rip, I can't say enough good things about Rip. Rip got me my job. I would not be here talking to you guys or done the things I've done, seen the things I've seen, if it hadn't been for Rip. He really broke it. He really breaks it down, and